You can see here at the transition, the carpet has pulled away and it's been delaminated some. This is in the transition going into the kitchen. We also have a transition problem going out the front door. Very, very similar. You can see the tackless strip under there. You can see how it may have been cut short originally. Then there's a problem right here. The carpet's been torn apart. It's going to need to be patched. And finally, the other item we're going to address is in the hallway. I don't know how obvious it is on the film, but we're a little bit loose, so we're going to open up that seam and tighten that up a little bit. And then there's a little bitty spot here that needs to be patched. So I'm going to take a little bit of carpet out of this closet, probably right here, to use to do the patching and whatever else we're going to need. I'll show you as we go along. Alright, so this is the entrance into the home, and tried to repair the transition, but the tackless strip, all of the tacks on there, the nails down there, have been pounded down. So we're going to have to replace that. You can see where right here on the edge where they're still standing up a little bit, but in the other places they aren't. So this is a 2-day process. It's cured concrete under there. So I'm going to have to remove the tackless strip, pre-drill some holes, and put down liquid nails because the nails themselves usually don't hold in cured concrete. Here we go. Okay, so here we have our new tackless strip installed. It's glued down with liquid nails, and I pilot drilled with a masonry bit some holes so that we could get a nice hold in there with some nails. And we'll have to leave that to cure overnight. Right here, you can see just a little bit where the color's different. We put a patch in here. And I think I demonstrated before the hole that was there. So that's been patched. That patch came out nice. Working on the hallway. Stretching a hallway is not really easy because you have to take out some of the carpet. In this case, I'm allowing a portion of the seam to cure. And you can see over here the part that I haven't put together yet. But my power stretcher is holding that together until it cures. And the magic number is 30 minutes for that seam tape to cure before I release the tension and work on that last little bit. So while I was waiting, I thought, what the heck? I cleaned this carpet, and I think it may need another quick rundown after I'm done tracking it up and all that, but there was this big black spot, and I found something really interesting. I decided I would patch that because I had a bit of the donor carpet left, but I didn't understand why this didn't come out, and I used some solvents and I lightened it up quite a bit. But when you take the patch out and you see the whole story, a lot of times people don't understand that dog urine or something like that, when it enters the carpet, it may be a small stain on the top. It could be a very big stain underneath, and this really tells the tale. So we're going to put a new piece in there, and I'll show you in a minute here after I get that taken care of. Alright, so this is it's an olefin. This is what I would call a cut loop berber. That's not really the right word. I guess this is a plush. But you can see here that looks like somebody burnt a hole in the carpet. And so when you're doing a repair, when you're doing a patch, the most important thing is to cut very straight and clean. So I use a square, and you can see I've already cut that out. And interestingly enough, the burned down into the padding. So you can see the back of the carpet. Wasn't near as obvious before. Somebody had shoved something in there, so this carpet does a good job of hiding things. I'm going to create a patch and show you the steps. So we have a piece of donor carpet here. Now, one of the key things you're going to do when you're doing a patch is you're going to make sure that you get the grain of the carpet right. It's hard to see, and I'm going to try to demonstrate this, but when I push the carpet this way, it sort of stands up. When I push it this way, it sort of flattens down and gets a little bit brighter. So there's only one way the carpet's going to do that. It sort of stands up and it sort of flattens down and brighter. So I believe that that is the grain of the carpet right there. Any other way it doesn't act that way, and you'll just have to experiment with this to understand it. So I've got my piece of carpet there, and so I know that it came out in this direction. So what I'm going to do so I don't lose the grain is I'm going to set it in the same direction underneath the carpet that it would go. Now I know when I turn that carpet over that is the way I want to cut it. Now I can cut it down here where I have a nice straight edge, but that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Instead of doing measurements, I'm just going to cut this on the back where I can get a nice straight cut. You can see even cutting it out of the floor, I got pretty straight edges, and that's going to make for a good repair. Okay, I'll be right back. Now you can see this patch. It's right here. Alright, before you ever glue a patch down, you want to make sure that it matches really nicely, because it doesn't get any better when you glue it. In fact, it's possible it gets worse. So what you do is you put it in there, you match it up with your star roller, make sure you like it. Now you're gonna, before you do this, you're gonna want to make sure that all the fiber is up, and you can see my hand, I'm gently smoothing the fiber up in a way so it doesn't get caught. What we're trying to do is we're trying to glue the backing, the backing right there, we're trying to glue that together with the other backing so that it lays in nice and flat. And we don't want to get the fibers caught in there, because they're going to be the things that are going to help to disguise it. So the next step is, now that we have our patch cut, is we're going to get some seam tape and put it under there, and I'll show you that. Okay, now you can see I've already slid one piece of seam tape under there. I've taken off the edges, and what you want to do is get it up and underneath of all of the edges of the carpeting, and I want it as flat as possible, like that. So the seam tape is going to give me something to glue my patch to. Now before I ever put my patch down there, I'm going to glue up with around the edges up under here with hot melt glue. I've got my hot melt glue gun warming up. I can't show you that because I can't do it with one hand, so I'm going to secure the seam tape in there, and then I'm going to secure the patch down. Okay, so I have the top part of it tacked down, and I'm going to roll it. This helps to bond the hot melt glue down onto the patch. And now you're going to see that this part is still unbound. I'm sorry, this part is still unbound. And I'm going to go ahead and glue that in now. Okay, so the patch is all in, and I'm just teasing you right here. I made some marks in the carpet to try to make it look like the patch was here, but truthfully, the patch is right here. And from a distance you can actually see it a little bit with the camera eye, but in person, can't. It's a good patch. The way that I bonded that in, that patch will be more secure than the carpet actually is, so this patch should last as long as or longer than the carpet. Not as long as cockroaches, but you know, carpet's not forever. Thanks for watching. Okay, so now the repairs are done. You can see the transition right here coming into the home. If I can get my body out of the way, see it better. You can see how nice it butts up right into the tile. Right here, you can see the slight difference in color of the patch, but beyond that, that's a very good patch. And when this carpet gets a final clean, that should blend a little bit better. Down the hallway, you can, for one thing, not see a seam. The other thing, you can see that the bubbles are gone that were there. In this bedroom, that big black spot has been replaced with a nice piece of carpet. Even though the carpet is much newer, you can see that the patch is well done. It doesn't show edges or openings along the edge, and it's very solid. And finally, we did the little bitty patch over here where the carpet had been burnt. So that one, because the carpet was a little newer out here, it was in a non-traffic area, that patch is much harder to pick up. So that's the repairs that we did. Rather than replacing all the carpet in here, the repairs will give this homeowner at least another rental, maybe two, for a very reasonable price. And I think oftentimes the repairs can also be taken from the security deposit, since it's likely that the tenant did cause the damage. And the final transition that we completed earlier is here along the kitchen, and you can see here that it's very nicely tucked, very solid in there, and should be a repair that lasts for a good long time. Thanks.